Good evening. My name is Diego Flores. I am a member of Prep 9, Contingent 28, and last month, I graduated from the Middlesex School in Concord, Massachusetts. It's a hot late night in August, made bearable only by the small fan in my room. The 6 train screams on the tracks nearby as I toss in bed, my arm over my little brother. I hear the clunk of work boots come up to our door. It opens and light fills the room. After a 13-hour shift selling tacos under a nearby Bronx subway station, my father is looking over us kids, his eyes drooping and tired. My mom pulls him back into the kitchen, and darkness envelops us again, along with whiffs of cilantro, carnitas, and chile de árbol that she is preparing for the next day. It's the last night before I go back to boarding school at Middlesex for my senior year. Once again, I'll be jumping from one world to another, one reality to another. I'm overcome with so many emotions at once: pride, nostalgia, love, sadness, and guilt. A year before I was born, my parents came to New York from Nesa and Iztapalapa, outside Mexico City. With limited education, little English, no connections, and no money, they only had their dreams and a work ethic strong enough to achieve them. Like so many immigrants, they stayed strong in the face of being stereotyped by political agendas, being labeled as a burden or a danger. After working as a waitress and a busboy, they started their own taco business based in our own local park. One day, I strayed from the stand to get in on a soccer game with the other kids. I was chosen last when we split into teams, but that didn't faze me. It was when the captain snapped, "I guess we'll take Taco Boy." Taco Boy. I felt the blood rush to my face. That name hit me like a brick. Was I supposed to be ashamed of it? It was hard being the butt of a joke, but worse seeing my parents exhaust themselves day after day in search of a better life. And when my parents faced financial challenges with fortitude, fate would continue to test them. When they announced I was going to have a little brother, I was so excited to have someone to follow in my footsteps, someone who would look up to me. So when my parents left me in the care of family friends for over a week, while they stayed at the hospital around the clock, I was confused. It turned out that my younger brother, Emmanuel, was born with Down syndrome. When they finally came home, they let me hold him, and I fell asleep with him in my arms. That night, I know my parents finally slept well too. Even before I learned to defend myself, I stood up for my brother when kids called him stupid or retarded or worse. And now, Emmanuel is growing up to be one of the most loving and compassionate people in my life. Were I to look up the definition of unconditional love, I'd find him. 4 years later, another sibling came into our lives. Replacing me as Emmanuel's playmate, Angel, the little devil, marked the time where I had to step up as the oldest brother, taking on more responsibility. And then there was my middle school. Looking back, I realize now that my experience is a part of a broader system of education that has failed people of my background for decades. In the spring of our 6th grade, our teachers showed us a slideshow in a misguided attempt to inspire us. It featured statistics projecting that 50% of us were expected to end up in jail, and that only 8% of us would be college ready. I was overtaken by a sense of despair as I kept asking myself, how do I get out of this situation? Not long after, I had my answer. At the start of 7th grade, my school dean shoved a Prep for Prep application into my hands and told me to return it the next morning. I had no clue what this program was even about. But after I was accepted, I came to realize that I had become part of something much bigger. My prep teachers provided constant encouragement, pushing me to dream bigger, widening my belief of what was possible. I met older prep students from the same background as me who were choosing among Harvard, Yale, and Princeton. It was a golden ticket. But when I arrived at Middlesex, the place seemed so distant and alien. I was literally afraid to step on the grass, afraid to distort the seemingly perfect mirage of a safe haven. I had no clear role to fill there. I stayed very quiet freshman year, and I thought I was doing the safe thing. It seems funny now, but in an attempt to fit in, I had my parents buy me Sperry Dock ciders and preppy pastel-colored shorts. But this all changed sophomore year as I came back with more confidence. I threw myself into the deep end and really embraced the Middlesex experience. Eventually, I found myself in entirely new ways as a tenor, an actor, a wrestler, a saxophonist, and get this, a squash player. After feeling like such a fish out of water freshman year, it was gratifying being voted as school body president this year. My victory reflected my efforts to truly becoming a part of the community, even if my background was so different from many of my peers. In the same spirit that my parents threw themselves into their physically taxing work, I tried to do the same with my studies. I threw myself into Faulkner, factorials, and the Federalist Papers. I studied Mandarin for 4 years. I earned Middlesex High Honors, became an AP Scholar with distinction, and won the Eberhard Award for Leadership at graduation. I spent summers working and interning through prep. This past year, I was sitting at a desk in JP Morgan in the anti-fraud division. In an uncanny resemblance to my freshman year, I tried to figure out how the whole professional world worked. There, with a spectacular view of Lower Manhattan, I worked on investigative reports. Fast forward 10 hours later, after a long commute, I would grab dinner from my dad at the stand, then help make deliveries and take orders. And I thought I was finally starting to figure out how to navigate these two worlds when the summer after junior year hit. The time that my parents needed me to help at the stand conflicted with SAT prep and college visits. At some point, my mom and I blew up and yelled at each other. Through tears of frustration, she apologized for the difficult situation she was putting me in. I was shocked and embarrassed. She had no need to apologize. I assured her it was because of those circumstances that I am here today. And now, I am more excited and willing to take on the challenges that lie ahead. This fall, I will trade one home at Middlesex for another one at college. I'm intimidated and humbled, but confident and optimistic, because I'm happy to say that Taco Boy is headed to Harvard. 4 years ago, when my two worlds first clashed, I struggled plenty. But now, both worlds are mine. With the help of my family, Middlesex, prep, and people like you, I made them mine. And every graduate here holds a similar story, powerful enough to inspire others to dream big and aim high, to defy expectations and to shatter statistics. Our hope is that in the future, transformative experiences like ours, fueled by opportunity and goodwill, will cease to be the exception, but become the norm. Y este discurso lo quiero dedicar a mis padres, que con sus sacrificios y su dedicación me ayudaron a llegar aquí. Thank you, Mom and Dad, and thank you to everyone here.